This is The Process Shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in societal norms, and I've seen Passing, a new dramatic period film from director Rebecca Hall. It follows two black women, Irene and Claire, who had been childhood friends but long since separated. This being the 1920s or so, Irene is surprised to learn that Claire has been living with a white man, having passed as white herself due to her skin tone being light enough to avoid any assumptions. As the two reconnect, Claire ends up thriving in the racial background she has had to repress for years. However, Irene begins to feel her own role at stake, especially with the amount of attention Claire is receiving from Irene's own children, and especially her husband. If this sounds like mixed messaging, you're not really alone in that matter. There are ostensibly two storylines going on here. The overt story of jealousy between Irene and Claire, and the potential threat of Claire replacing her, and the underlying themes of racial identity, passing for one race in a segregated society, and the fears of being exposed to those who are disgusted by your skin color. Passing tries to balance both stories together, ideally with the latter being subtext for the former, but there comes a point in the film where the surface level conflict seems to become the only conflict. The notion of passing in itself seems to just fizzle out as Claire integrates herself into black society, and while she does seem to attract attention from others for being able to pass as white, it's not a facet that's actually explored in a greater depth outside of how it personally affects Irene. There's room enough for it, even in the way of a simple comparison between how the two may be treated by others in society, but as it's presented, it feels more of a starting point for the domestic and romantic tension. As for the technical production of Passing, this is where things take up a clearer sense of direction. Cinematography is put to excellent use here, with expressive framing that can be a bit unnecessarily artsy at a few points, mostly in the way of giving characters more headspace than necessary, in my opinion, but otherwise works towards a clear visual style built around community and camaraderie. The starkness in the use of black and white is both used efficiently and works as an effective metaphor, though it tends to keep towards midtones rather than stretch itself dynamically. Not that that's a bad thing, but it wouldn't have hurt. Anyways, the film does have a missed opportunity in its use of music, with a repeated piano riff in the heart of Harlem where Irene lives that separates itself from the near-silent city noises of Manhattan. It's a clear contrast that works great, but without much variety or any further contrasts, it loses that initial spark. In any case, Passing does have a lot to show for its more stylistic efforts and artistic design, but while it may make the film pretty to look at, its themes and story could have used some ironing to either make them mesh together more closely or give them some better sense of balance. Passing, Rebecca Hall, 2021. 3.5 stars. I'd say that it's still worth giving a watch, even though I have issues with it. Anyways, that's it for me. If you liked this review, leave it a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews. The acting here was pretty good, at least. I need to start commenting more on actors in these movies. I don't know why I don't. It's not like they take anything I say personally.